So, Steve, are you ready for this first topic? Nintendo. Big. Nintendo's Mario 35th Anniversary Direct. All right, so the way we're going to do this is there was a whole bunch of announcements, and each one is really interesting. And before we get into it, I just want to say, no, we're not going to be talking about the outfits and the little knickknacks that they announced that they're going to be releasing Mario
stickers.
We're not doing that. But the first one, they're celebrating the 35th anniversary of Super Mario Bros. And for this anniversary, they announced a ton of new awesome things coming up. First one is Super Mario 3D World and Bowser's Fury. So there's a deluxe re-release of the popular Wii U game. It's set for release on February 12th, 2021. Steve, are you excited about this?
Now, I'm excited because it's been a long time since I played this. I did play this on... I'm one of those few people who had Wii U. I did play this on Wii U, and it is a good game. So it's just also kind of long. I don't know if hopefully you can maybe jump into Bowser's Fury and some of this extra stuff without it. I do see they did some, cleaning up on... obviously they rendered so it looks a little bit nicer, and they sped it up, which is always... It's weird. I thought that was a complaint only I had, where they're like, sometimes Cat Mario, or if you had a certain power, they just wouldn't run as fast as I wanted them to, which would make jumps, and obviously Mario being making the platforming difficult. So they we sort of tweaked this and stuff like that. So I'm excited. I don't know what I'm going to be doing February 2021. I always I think that's like Far Cry 6 territory.
Yeah, around
so that. I don't know, we'll have the new systems in hand, assumingly. Maybe this will be, if I'm clear on Switch, not really doing anything else, I'll probably pick this up. It's been a while since I played. Again, I did one playthrough, and then to unlock Rosalina was super hard. You had to get every single collectible. I was ridiculous, not gonna do it. Maybe having it on the go would just be a little bit nicer. But I'm excited for it, and again, I'll pick it up. Very late. I thought it would probably be sneaking out this year. I get to keep Mario in the talks, but they're there at least, and we all knew this was coming for a long time. At least because everything from Wii U is being made to a deluxe version or a plus version. So more Mario isn't necessarily bad. I would have preferred a new Mario, but it is a good game.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm not the biggest fan of the $60 re-release Nintendo strategy.
Yes.
Thing. When the console first launched, I have to admit, I bought a couple of those, especially some of the Wii U ports. I have a lot of those. But later into the generation, as the years have progressed, they've kind of re-released everything, and some things I'm more cool with than others. That obviously the Tropical Freeze treatment is probably the ideal situation. But every once in a while, we get one, and it's all right, yeah, we get it, you're re-releasing everything. And so I'm not the most excited about that. But they lucked out with this one, because this is one of the few Wii games that I barely touched. Every time I played it was at your house. So yep. I don't have much experience with this. I do have this game physically because I bought it with my Wii U, but I didn't have my Wii U for very long before the Switch was out.
That's true.
Less than a year. So, and I played mostly Mario Kart on it. So this is a game that I haven't really experienced at all. And I've seen a lot of screenshot of the different levels, and there's some really interesting stuff that they do in this game that it's probably enough for me to pick it up. Ultimately, yeah, you brought up a great point. In February, I need to see where I'm at. I'm coming off a lot of games at that point. Sometimes I can do the balance of a major console game like a Far Cry and the Nintendo game, and I'm usually able to balance it like Ghost of Tsushima and Paper Mario. That can happen. Mm-hmm. So if nothing else is out at that time, I could see it fitting in there, and I don't think there's anything major on Switch that is announced that's coming out at that time. So I might be able to balance it, and I'm just curious to see what Bowser's Fury turns out to be, how substantive of a DLC add-on or whatever it's going to be. Is it an expansion? I'm not exactly sure. I don't know if it's a new mode. It's obviously something new that they're tacking on there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's you can play the game as Bowser or something like that. So I'm curious to see how much that is, and that could shape a lot of the value proposition. And maybe if it's a lot of new campaign and a new character and a whole new expansion, yeah, then maybe I think it's well worth the $60.
Yeah, and hopefully that's something I'm sure we'll see later on in a more formal direct, because they didn't really show anything. They showed what looked like a stage, and playing as Bowser would be cool. That was one of my favorite parts in Odyssey, was playing that small section of Bowser. So it's they've already played with that aspect, so why not give it to us?
Yeah, so the next one is one that I did not see coming at all. And during the news segment, I kind of brought it up by saying, like, I have to give Nintendo credit. There's a lot of things that I get really annoyed about this company at, and we'll get into them later on. But one thing that you can never hold against them is their creativity and the way that they are able to take a conventional idea and like spin it on its head in such a creative, insane way. So Super Mario Bros. 35, which is basically a battle royale game, but closer to a Tetris 99 than a Fortnite. Did this interest you at all?
So I had mixed feelings about this because I'm not sure if you're aware. There was an online game that did this already.
Oh, really? Okay.
And Nintendo came out with the legal books and shut it down. I don't remember if it was 35 specific. I think it may have been like 100. But everything else looked exactly like this, where it was 100 Marios or something like that. And they came and legally shut it down. You know them. You know them. So when I saw this, I laughed because I was like, hold on. I'm sure it's maybe sort of in the works early since Tetris 99. I just thought it was how convenient that's something that people online were loving, and now you're temporarily attaching it to our Nintendo service. I think it's still going to be good. Again, the legally, all that stuff out of the way. I think it's interesting. That is a creative way to do a Mario Battle Royale, pretty much. I probably won't be very good at this because, people in that first Mario Brothers, man.
Brutal.
Oof, and then with, the random enemies popping, if, one person kills it. I'm not that great at I'm good at Tetris. Tetris 99. Nowhere near. So I'm excited for this. Again, this is attached to the Switch Online service, correct?
Yes, yeah.
So
sure.
yeah, so I'll check it out.
To Tetris 99.
Yeah, so I'll check it out for sure. Play it probably one day, and unless somehow I'm magically good at it, that'll probably be my end with it. But I'm excited that they're at least beefing up the Nintendo Online service a little bit, even though because I think this is only a limited time thing, which we have to get into that later, but.
Yeah, that weird March cutoff.
For multiple items. So it's pretty cool, though. I think that is a cool thing. I think that's something the fans are going to love. Because most people just pay $20 a year, have their Nintendo services, and it's very akin to releasing, like, Fall Guys on, PlayStation Plus, where everyone's going to be there. Yeah. And now this is the same. Releasing this, everyone who has a Switch is probably have online already. They're going to be there testing out because it's free to them.
Yeah, the way that they kind of formatted this version, whether, again, it was by Nintendo's creation or those, I guess, indie devs that got ripped. First time I'm hearing of that story, I'm definitely going to look into that. I stand corrected on that. But it's very creative way to go about it, because if you would have just gone to me and be like, okay, make Mario Brothers but Battle Royale, the way I would have done it is I would have imagined kind of like a side-scrolling version of it where you're running from left to right and there's a whole bunch of ghost characters, like when you're doing a time trial, for example, of all the other players, and they do like kind of like a Fall Guys-esque thing where they give you a randomized level and see who makes it to the end and make it crazy hard. That's how I would have expected it to take a form of, but this kind of like combative where you have to simultaneously platform and be offensive is pretty genius, but I can't imagine me being able to survive at all in this game. I mean, I'm good at Tetris, and I couldn't do Tetris 99. I'm terrible at Mario, so I can only imagine. It's done.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be weird, but I think it'll be fun at first. Like, it'll be comical, and then quickly be like, all right, I'm done with this.
So the next announcement was one of the more weird ones, but it really tapped deeply into my soul and then subsequently made me cry, which is Game & Watch, the Super Mario Bros. Edition. It's launching on November 13th for $50. Now, it's important to mention this one also has that March cutoff of availability. They also said that it's a limited release. So that lets you know, for you guys who are not that experienced, that if Nintendo is saying it's limited, congratulations, you're not getting it. The scalpers are.
Yep.
You are not getting your hands for this for $50 unless you super luck out. Unless you live in Indiana and they got nobody buying anything at the GameStop. But does this interest you at all? I've always wanted a Game & Watch, and I'm really into the collector's stuff, and I know you are too. Does this interest you?
Yeah, as a collector, when I saw this, oh man, I could not stop grinning. Because, again, this whole Direct was shadow drop. So when you sent me this link, I was like, yeah, I gotta go use the restroom. I'm at work, so I was like, I gotta wink, use the restroom. And I was in there just watching the whole thing. And when I saw this, oh, my heart was just like, oh, I need this. Then you see the nice little box, and before they even said it's a limited production, I was like, damn, I won't be able to find this, will I? I was like, I don't think I'll be able to find this. And then they come out, and it's going to be limited release. I said, oh my goodness.
Yeah, you don't stand a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really excited, and I like the fact that there's like 3 pre-installed games. It's just such a weird device. It's such a collector's item. You could tell that they didn't intend this for like just mainstream release for the everyday gamer.
No, for sure. And you know what's sad about this is that most people are gonna buy it and then leave it on their shelf unopened to not even be able to experience it the way it needs to be. And again, I'm gonna end up probably buy it from a scalper, but to a limited. I'm not paying scalping prices for it. It depends. So if I can find if I can find it directly from them, perfect. I'm not paying loads of money for this.
I got to at most 75 for you guys. Like,
yeah.
I'm not spending a brick on this because at the end of the day, I'm gonna play this, but this is not something I'm gonna get like 120 hours out of. Yeah, and on top of that, I hate the resale market. It's really annoying. And resale long term is fine. Yeah, when things get out of production and some people sell on eBay, yeah, for a markup because it's not being produced anymore, that's one thing. But when these people just like grab up everything at launch, it drives me nuts because again, nobody benefits from that. Okay, you get a little bit of money out of it, and every once in a while, I get excited when like the scalpers buy all these devices and the devices flop. So now someone out there has like 170 PlayStation Classics. Yeah, get wrecked.
20 Uyas.
Yikes. Now, you can actually get some money for some Uyas these days. Because there's weirdos like me that I'm like, I kind of want one. I kind of do. But I refuse to spend more than like $40 on it.
That makes sense.
All right. The next one is a pretty... If you've been paying attention to the general direction that Nintendo has been going in, this one makes all the sense in the world, which is Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. So for you guys who don't know what this is basically you're racing physical karts, actual toy RC type karts, with custom courses that you can build around your house. It's out October 16th for about $100. It's definitely in line with the Lego collab type situation, the NES set physical component of Mario toys that have been coming out lately. It does have a multiplayer component, and it has kind of a camera on the cart itself to have some kind of Switch integration. Is this something that interests you at all? I don't know how much you're interested in kind of like the toy market.
So I saw this and I was like, okay, I guess I'd be more excited for this if it was followed up with a Mario Kart 9 announcement. The fact that we got this instead of Mario Kart 9, really, I just was like, I couldn't roll my eyes any further back in my head. This is fine. I know this is obviously not directed toward me. This is directed toward the Labo people, the people who love the Lego sets and all that kind of stuff. That's great for them. I don't have an apartment where I can... My apartment's laid out very specifically. I cannot rearrange this so I can drive around a piece of plastic toy. I don't have... It's a cool idea, don't get me wrong. I see for people who have like big living rooms and stuff like that to be able to set up a nice cool little Mario Kart circuit. That's great. It's not for me. I'm not going to pre-order this. I'm not interested in this at all. But again, it's not towards me. I think it's super cool though that Nintendo's really starting to open up now with like different items. And this is something we talked about a while, where Nintendo needs to open up and kind of expand a little bit. And they're slowly starting to do it. Now they're really focusing on the toy market, which, I mean, Nintendo started off as a toy company, so it's nice to see a reunion full circle. And it's really, let me tell you, this is creative. I did not see this coming. I thought at first, I'm like, is this just like AR Mario Kart? And it's like, no, you get these little, actual movable go-karts, you charge them up and all this stuff. I'm like, that's cool. You go back a couple of years, and I'm losing my mind over this. I just don't have the time or space for that anymore. But really excited to see what people do with it.
Yeah, and the build looks really solid, and I do commend Nintendo on there when they put their names on something. There's definitely that quote unquote seal of quality that they have. Like for example, when they're selling Labo, obviously yes, it's cardboard, but then when you look at like the piano setup and the way it's built, there is like tech integration to it that seems fairly high quality. And if the trailer matches up to reality at all, that camera look on the cart itself, that physical cart, was actually pretty high quality, and it looked like it was running pretty decent too. So again, ultimately, your mileage may vary in terms of how it's actually going to turn out. But from what they're showing off, if they're actually able to pull it off, it's going to be really, really impressive. And yeah, for me, this is definitely not something I'm going to get because, and you know this about me, toys are kind of my hard cutoff where I am collector addict brain man, where I just collect. That's my thing. That's my one vice. And I have to have hard cutoffs of things that I cannot do. And toys is one of those because I know I'll go crazy. I know it because suddenly, then I'm on eBay buying moon shoes. I will get out of control. So I have a hard cutoff, no toys, so I can't do this. If I had like a family situation and I had like toddlers running around and they were looking for something to play, maybe we could talk about this a little bit differently because then that means that something that could please them and interest me, that's a whole different situation. For me, by myself, me and my girlfriend and our cats, I'm definitely not racing carts with those guys around. They're going to kill them.
Yeah, that's absolutely true.
Yeah, no, cats and it's not happening. The next one's pretty quick one. Something that I thought about and I was like, wait, this doesn't exist. But then I was like, oh, no, that's true. The original Super Mario All-Stars pack from the Super Nintendo days is actually going to be available to play on the Nintendo Switch Online service. For you guys who don't know what this is basically a Super Nintendo collection that they dropped in the 90s of remade versions of the first 3 games and the Lost Levels. So basically take Mario Bros. 1, 2, and 3 with the nice, basically Mario World graphics, 16-bit graphics. Beautiful version, plays amazingly. They tweak some things here and there. And then I believe this also gets packaged in with the Lost Levels too, right?
Correct.
And Lost Levels, for you guys that don't know, is the original Mario 2. The Mario 2 we got in America was a reskin of a game called Doki Doki Panic. It's a whole thing. Everybody knows about it. So Lost Levels is like the hard version of Mario 2, and we're getting all that on the Switch Online service. So I'll probably play that a little bit. But again, guys like us, we've played this collection to death at this point. So
yeah, so it was cool. I'm like, I was in the same boat. I'm like, this isn't on the Switch Classic.
I swore I thought it was.
And then I'm like, oh, the individual games are, and then then luckily it was available later that afternoon, so I updated my Switch Online, and I played through the first Mario, and I was like, because it's been a long time since I've played the All-Stars version. I've played, obviously, the original Mario multiple times throughout the year, and I forgot how good this looks. This is like, at the time, a ground-up remake. The game looks...
Yeah, it's impressive what they did back then.
Super impressive, and I'm like, whoa, I completely forgot about it. I skipped over 2 because I'm not a huge fan of Mario 2. I did jump right into the Lost Levels, which I know is original Mario 2, whatever.
Yeah.
But, so I jumped into those, and again, I was super excited to play through them again. I'll probably play through them once, and then it'll be nice knowing that it's there. I didn't see if this had a time limit. I don't think it did, which is, again, starting to get annoying with that. But it's nice to have on there. It's nice for people to be able to play like the original Mario trilogy plus another game that, over here we always... I just think Lost Levels gets a lot of missing. Like, people forget about it a lot. They go Mario 1, 2, and 3. They forget about the Lost Levels, which is really good and, difficult. It is difficult. But it's great to finally have this package on the go, nice and easy, not having to hook up like, a Retron or a portable Game Boy or any of those things to play it.
Yeah, and I would say Lost Levels is traditionally difficult, but now that Mario Maker is a thing, and you'll see what some of these people are doing, it really contextualizes kind of like the sliding scale of difficulty as time progresses, where some things get harder as time progresses. Like, I feel like in many ways some of the classic Castlevanias are probably considered tougher now than they were back then. But then, now that like Mario Maker exists, I feel like Lost Levels a lot more tame than what some people are beating nowadays. And All-Stars is a classic. The only one I don't really play that much is the All-Stars version of 3. Just because I really do like the look of the original 3 more than the All-Stars version. That's the one that I'm like, I prefer the original, actually. That kind of play look to it with the shadow backdrop. I just feel like that the crispy 8-bit edges looks a little better than the 16-bit softer version. Because again, 3 All-Stars looks a lot like World. And I felt like that sharp difference between the original 3 and Mario World is what differentiated them and made them both so awesome. So when you get the All-Stars version, it makes it too close. I start getting triggered. I don't like it.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
But,
There's something about 3 that has that aspect that way in that style, and you lose a little bit of that uniqueness and that identity with it.
Yeah, for sure. And then, okay, so finally we jump into the big one, the one that we all been waiting for, the one we've all been hoped for, and there's a lot to unpack here. They announced Super Mario 3D All-Stars. This is going to be coming out September 18th for $60. It contains Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy. It includes enhancements like fixing the aspect ratio and stuff like that. Sharpens it up a little bit and has some new features as well. So I don't have to ask you if you're interested in this, but I just want to get your general thoughts about this.
You know, this has been rumored for a while. It's been leaking, and people have been talking about it, and we, I think, twice discussed it on here.
Yeah.
And my goodness, it's real. It's real. I'm so excited.
Yes.
Initially, I'm super excited that it's real. Mario 64 has just such a place in my heart, in my gaming history, and I love Galaxy. I always hate having to hook up a Wii to play it. Sunshine, I do enjoy. I'm a little less... Like, that's my least one I'll probably play on here, just because I do like Sunshine. I love music. I love the music, the style, and everything like that. I just don't want to spray water everywhere.
Yeah.
But I'm super excited. I'm glad that they even went through and, like, you know, I saw some side-by-side comparisons. Like, you know, like 64 is not a ground-up remake. Obviously, it's a port, but they did clean up the HUD. They made some textures a little bit sharper, and Mario looks a little bit cleaner. The colors are a little bit better. And the same for Sunshine and Galaxy. Obviously, Galaxy looks the best, but I have to give it to Sunshine. When they showed Sunshine, and then I watched a video that did a side-by-side, Sunshine looks like a Switch game. Like, oh my goodness, the art style, it is clean. My goodness, Sunshine looks great. So I'm super happy to get it. I don't understand why this was so late released. It comes out September 18th. That's in like 2 weeks.
Yes.
So what's going on with that? And on top of that, they're doing the limited time release. But before we go into that, I mean, I know I'm pre-ordering it, and I think you have it pre-ordered twice, don't you?
Well, okay, so I pre-ordered it digitally. Okay. But upon really unpacking the whole March cutoff situation, which again we'll get into, because there's a lot to unpack there, I thought immediately, I'm like, wait, and I'm gonna heads up to every collector who's listening right now. If you're gonna get one game physical, get this game physical. I'm telling you, especially if you eventually plan on maybe flipping some of your collection. Get this game physical, because this is going to stop being sold in some capacity. There's arguments whether it's the bundle itself is going to be stopped, or is it if it's going to enter the Disney Vault type situation and go away altogether. We don't know, but this game is one that you want to get physical, because this is going to be a nightmare to get one day. Yeah, once this is patch March and they stop producing these games, this is going to skyrocket in price. This has a $60 price tag now. I would not be surprised if by the end of 2021, this game shoots up to $100, $120 easily on resale market when you're not seeing this in stores anymore, because again, this is going to sell out everywhere. So yeah, I'm really, really excited about this game. It's one of those things where I'm like, how am I going to juggle these 3 games? Because I honestly love them all for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And Galaxy's probably the one I've played the least, so that's one I'm really excited to jump into, because in many ways, it's not as bad, but this one kind of skyward sworded itself a little bit for me, where I just hate going back to games with motion controls. I just hate it. So this one coming to Switch is awesome. I am aware that they found some way to recreate the waggle experience with the Joy-Cons, so I know that exists in some capacity. What I don't know is if that's the only way to play this game. From what I understand, there's some kind of touch integration there. So hopefully that's very much a thing that I don't have to start wagging my thing around, because I like to just play it handheld or docked or one way. I don't want to do anything motion, so I hope they found a way to not be able to do that. But yeah, I'm curious to see if they have a way to traditionally control it like the other ones. Because yeah, if they found a way to make Galaxy just have joysticks, buttons, that's it, and it plays like Sunshine otherwise, oh yeah, I'm front to back. If it requires some kind of, me waving the Joy-Cons around, it's going to be a little tougher for me to get through. And yeah, it's one of those things that I was like, I wish I could just play it like I beat 64, then I go to Sunshine, I beat Sunshine, I go to Galaxy, but like there's no way I'm waiting to jump into Sunshine and Galaxy. There's no way. So I'm gonna have to play them all at the same time, which is gonna be a nightmare.
Yeah, these are all three of them are long games.
Yeah.
Especially if the point of these games is to be a completionist, collect the stars, collect the all the collectibles and stuff like
Sunshine
that, and get all the secret. So especially Sunshine, yeah, and then getting Galaxy, can't even remember how big of a game that really is, but I know 64. I like to get in there and constantly go back to the same levels to get the different stars and all the great things. And yeah, I'm interested on the way Galaxy is gonna work, because I think this may show down the line what they may be doing with other Wii games they want to bring over, because I know they showed the pointer thing that works for quote unquote player 2 in Mario Galaxy that can shoot stars and pick up stars. Yes. And that's fine and all, and I know that can work. So I guess you can use the touchscreen, you can drag your finger to collect the star bits. Yeah. But my big thing is to do the spin attack, which is the main attack in this game. You used to have to wiggle or whatever, waggle the little Wii remote. So how do they replace that? And we have more buttons now than ever, so I don't see why they couldn't just attach it to a button. Because if you're telling me I'm sitting on my couch with the Pro Control, because come on, I'm not gonna sit here waggling my Pro Control every time I want to do a spin attack, because that's just not how I want to play this game.
Yeah, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did it, because Let's Go Pikachu did.
That's very true. We were stuck with that. Yeah. Well, Let's Go Pikachu, you could just push A though to toss the Pokeball.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. But I'm scared that they're gonna have me. They did have the thing where you take the whole console and kind of flick it to do it. So I wouldn't.
Yeah, no.
I wouldn't be surprised if they did some kind of weird flick animation with the whole console or your Joy-Cons or the controller itself with those gyroscopes built in to collect or do the attack.
Yeah, Breath of the Wild had it, and that was. That's true, man. I didn't think about Breath.
I'm praying that they don't, but
I hope not. But
if they do.
They've been, people have asked for clarification. Like IGN has reached out to them, and they haven't clarified specifically, which makes me believe, that the waggle motion control aspect is still in there.
They get really weird about control stuff when you start asking what you're capable of, because they always have this kind of suggested experience of what they have in mind for their player base. And so,
Star Fox Zero.
Yeah, so they don't like disclosing if there's alternatives. And if there are alternatives, they don't market it. They just let you figure it out on your own. That's kind of how, like, Splatoon, they're like, can you play without the motion? Yeah, you can. But they won't come out and just say it, because they want you to play a certain way. And it's like, Nintendo, please. I swear, the moment the Wii sold 120 million, or however much it's 150 million, I knew it was over. I was like, oh no. Okay, they're going to be doing this forever. And lo and behold, fast forward to 2020, they're still doing weird things with the controls, which I have zero problem existing. It's the lack of alternatives I take issue with. I'm hoping that they have more open dialogue, but one way or another, at least we're not waiting too long. It's going to be 2 weeks, and then we'll be able to answer all these questions. So I guess we can jump into the two major controversies regarding this collection, which the first one is the omission of Galaxy 2. And then, obviously, the second one is the availability issues following that March 2021 cutoff. So the first one we can get into is the omission of Galaxy 2. My question to you is, why do you think it's missing? Do you think they want another collection to be released? And if you think that's the case, what else do you think they could tack onto it?
So initially I thought the same. I'm like, well, maybe they're saving that for another collection. But there isn't another collection available.
Yeah, they only have one game to do.
Because the only other game you could maybe think they would try packing would be 3D World. So, because they're not going to, unless they were for some reason to bundle the New Super Mario Brothers, New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. Oh no, that already came. That already came to Switch. Yeah. Well then, I don't know what they could pack in. I do think it's more tied into my theory on why this is a limited release. That's weird. In my brain, I for some reason didn't think New Super Mario Brothers Wii U. I was thinking they'd put those two Super Mario Brothers and then put Galaxy in, because Nintendo loves money. They're like, we can charge another $60 for this, but they charge $60 just for Wii U Brothers. I don't understand. They're very quiet. They're very concerning. Galaxy 2 should have just been in this, and you could have even charged more. And I know they're re-releases, but you could have charged $80. And if you had Galaxy 2, people would be like, oh, it's $20 a game. Beautiful, because you're basically 20. I'd still buy it. I still would be like $80 for these 4. Amazing. That's beautiful. Anything above that would be a little too much. I don't know if maybe it has something to do with that it's just not ready. because because they're being so quiet, how much did they have to change? How much did they have to change Galaxy for it to work without the Wii remotes? Maybe that's taking more time than we think. Obviously, we're not developers, we're not techs. But if they figured it out for Galaxy, a lot of that same stuff carried over to Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
Because of how close those were. So, I guess it's just not ready is my initial idea. But I think it's going to tie more into that. So, what did you think about the omission?
Yeah, so there's a couple things to unpack there. The reason I think Galaxy 2 is probably not included is probably the fact that they probably wanted to keep that 3-game format from the original All-Stars. If I had to guess, it's probably they just wanted to keep it a clean 3-game 64 Sunshine Galaxy. Galaxy 2 is derivative of the first one. They probably don't want to get into the sequel game necessarily. It does bump into that issue where they cannot, as you mentioned, they can't do a 3D All-Stars 2 because they would have one game to include in it. And you can't tack on New Super Mario Brothers or New Super Mario Brothers U because there is a hard distinction Nintendo's made with Mario games that are 3D and Mario games that have 3D graphics. These are different things. So 3D Mario games are Odyssey, Mario 64. A Mario game with 3D graphics is a 2D game in Nintendo's eyes, which is New Super Mario Brothers, like we got on Wii with the DS version, stuff like that. And so I doubt that they'd ever, mix the two and bundle Galaxy 2 with New Super Mario Brothers, because in Nintendo's eyes, those are completely different games, completely different series. So that's the issue there. I would imagine if these end up on the eShop individually, then it's probably a matter of time until we get Galaxy 2.
Yep.
And it's not one of those. I saw some people trying to speculate like maybe they don't consider it a mainline thing. I doubt that because it doesn't seem like it has that kind of Arkham treatment where it's like done by a different person. No, Galaxy 2 was done by the same team shortly after Galaxy 1. It's just as Nintendo as all the rest of them. So I can't really think of a logistical reason other than, it wasn't technically ready, or they just wanted to keep it clean, 3-game sequel, just like the original All-Stars pack. I don't know, maybe.
But All-Stars
Lost Levels, right?
But All-Stars has 4 games.
Oh, yeah, Lost Levels. Yeah.
So now they're just slacking. But I agree with you that I think, so obviously this has, the other controversy is the dates. So, and they're very coincided, in my opinion. This is going to be available not only, so this is what didn't make sense, and they had to clarify. It seemed like I thought until March they were going to sell the physical version. Even in March 2021, the digital version's coming down.
Yeah.
Which is, coincidence that I believe that's the end of the fiscal year for them and stuff like that. So this is obviously going to bump up numbers because if you don't buy it, then you may not have it. You won't have the collection. I also do believe that once the collection's down, physical and digital, they're going to release these separately.
Yeah.
Probably for like $25 a pop. Well, I don't know, but I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to believe in a world where Nintendo's going to sell Mario Galaxy for $25, and that's doesn't make sense in my mind. But let's say they do that, and I think it will lead up to Mario Galaxy 2's release. So you'll be able to get these games again, because I don't think Nintendo's going to be the ones to be like, well, if you don't have a Switch yet, too bad, because especially in the
Vault them?
Yeah, and Disney vaults it because it's like, well, because there's people I see are super excited for this, and they're like, I still don't have the money to get a Switch, or I don't have the ability to get a Switch, or I had to sell my Switch for XYZ reasons, and to be like, well, but if you don't get it, you're screwed. I just don't see Nintendo being that unconsumer friendly, because that's not the world we live in. We weren't told just to go buy a game and it's like that's it. If you don't buy it right now, you can never buy that game again, which is a thing that happens, but not in this day and age. So that's my thing, is you're gonna get these released separately, which is gonna spike sales again, and then hopefully end the re-release with Galaxy 2. In the best world, that's what I believe in, which sucks because then I'm gonna have the first 3 physical, and I have to get Galaxy 2 digital because they're not gonna just release it. In my mind, they're not gonna release it physical by itself, which is such a weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's a weird situation. So, obviously that March cutoff has been interpreted basically in 2 different ways, which is The first way is, once March hits, this is done. It's going to go into the Nintendo vault, and if you have it, beautiful, keep it installed. If you don't, you're done. It's no longer going to be sold, and then maybe it'll resurface in a couple more years when it comes out of the vault. We're praying that's not the case. The way I interpreted it is at the end of March, the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection will not exist. Mario 64, Sunshine, and Galaxy on Switch will, as individual entities like any other Nintendo game on the eShop. That's how I interpreted it. Ultimately, we're going to see. I feel like both moves are strange. I don't know why they're doing it like this. Why having a timed release for a bundle on this magnitude is strange to me. If you're like, okay, Mario Brother 35 is going to be kind of a limited thing. We're kind of playing around. It's more like an event type situation. Yeah. Fair enough. It's kind of like an online tack on. I'm not tripping about that. But the fact that you're having a bundle of 3 of your biggest games of all time in your number 1 IP available on your new piece of hardware that people have been asking for since this hardware launched, and you finally give them the bundle of it, which is a way that we did not expect to ever get it, so it's an amazing thing. And then you're saying that that's timed. I don't get why they would format it. I don't know what they get out of that, limiting its release. The only way I could say is maybe they look at this as kind of like a way to save a little bit of money. Like, yeah, we're going to bundle all 3 together. If you're an early adopter, you get it for this. This is kind of like an early bird special. And then once March hits, you're going to pay, I don't know, $30, $25 each, and you're no longer going to be able to get these 3 games for $60 as a late adopter. It'll cost you $75, $80.
I just think they should have said that then. Why?
Well, you know it's Nintendo.
I know, but their communication is always suffering. Why not tell people, listen, this collection will be sold until, and then after that you have to buy them. They will be available, separately on the eShop.
It's so easy to communicate. I don't know what.
Like, how hard is it to at least have that tagline at the end? Titles will be available at a later date separately, whatever it is. And it's going to be weird because you assume 3D All-Stars, when we put, whatever, the chip in, or once we launch it, it's going to have a menu with the 3 games. So then you had to have someone create it without the menu, and so they launch on their own. It's just like doing a lot of work for confusion. It makes no sense.
I mean, the way I'm interpreting it is definitely reading between the lines, because if we take Nintendo at face value, as their words as gospel as they're speaking it, yes, as of the end of March, this is all gone. According to their words, as written, at the end of March, the digital and physical bundles are gone. They're no longer being produced. If you got it, beautiful. If you don't, you're out of luck. I guess the reason why we're trying to read into this differently is we cannot imagine a reality where Nintendo giveth and taketh away in this way. We can't imagine that. But again, I wouldn't put anything past them, because Nintendo has made many decisions that we cannot for the life of us understand why they do it that way. Why they spent years building a virtual console to just do away with it, I don't know. I don't know why they do it. It's the same reason why the PS4 doesn't have PS1 games. I don't know. I can't explain that. There's not one way I can even rationalize why that makes sense, why they treat their first-party games that they do not have to relicense because they own it. Why they don't just drop it there, I don't know. But and there's no technical limitations. Why they treat their things this way, I couldn't tell you. But I know all of us as Nintendo fans are hoping and praying that they don't rip these games away indefinitely. But well, I mean, we're gonna see real soon.
Yeah, this is the first time Sunshine and Galaxy get a release. Sunshine is way older, and you're gonna finally re-release it and have it available for 6 months, and that's it. I just don't. Man, if it's true and these go away forever because of this, they're gonna have a.
That's a scary precedent.
That's going to be a different story for a different day. We're going to have a nice conversation about that.
Yeah, because then they go to Disney territory, which means that, okay, what's going to disappear next? That's concerning.
Yep.
Because I'm like, oh, yeah, if they do that, then it's like, oh, man, the GameCube generation's done. We're never going to see none of these guys again.
We're going to have a different conversation then. We'll see in March.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yep.